Welcome, everybody, to Heroes Rising. I am so thrilled with my two guests. Today, we are speaking with Lisa Charles and Gino. Help me out with your last name, Gino.
Perrotte, like karate with a P.
Oh, there you go. Cool. And just a quick note, my co-host is having his power lines are down. So the kind of person that he is, I know he's probably up there on some pole trying to fix the lights because there's 50,000 people who have no lights. So I know who he is. He's an amazing human being, E.A. Solkowitz. And I know he's up there somewhere fixing the wires himself. I can tell. I know him. So listen, we're going to have a great show. We're going to miss you, EA. But here's the whole thing. And I was talking to Gino before. When things happen, how do we deal with it, right? And that's everything. That's how we have to think about the actions that we take. So let me introduce you to an amazing woman, Lisa, who I've made a deep connection with from my podcast. And we actually did two of them, right? She's had an amazing journey. Let's see if I get this right. She was a federal prosecutor turned singer, actress, wellness expert, certified health coach, and a consultant, an acclaimed speaker. My gosh. She serves as the fitness wellness research coordinator for Rutgers University Aging and Brain Health Alliance, and is the CEO of Embrace Your Fitness and author of Yes, Commit. Yes, Commit. When I tell you adversity she has kicked her, but she's actually kicked its butt and pivoted and is a wonderful, powerful woman who I am proud to call my sister from another mother. Lisa, tell us, oh my gosh, you're just an amazing human being.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much. Sometimes you hear an introduction and you're like, wow, okay, so I've been doing some things. I'm just humble and happy that we made a connection some time ago, and it was pretty instantaneous. Just a mutual respect of our passions, our shared passion for bringing healing and health and a message of that as far and wide as we can. This has been just an amazing time. I mean, right now I'm really dancing in what I call the ADL, age defying living space. So I really want to show people how to live just their dreams and their authentic self, and at the same time, have a true alignment between their brain, their body, and their beliefs. So that's the space I love dancing in, and I'm just happy to be here today.
Awesome. Lisa, we definitely want to know everything, right? But we don't know, we only have 20 minutes, right?
Right.
So would you mind sharing with us the topic that you are so, just think about the way the fitness has really captured you.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I was really excited to come on today, being very deliberate on one, but most significant portion of fitness as I see it. We talked about the 4 pillars of ultimate health. I call it true wellness. And I really want to think about changing wellness in the way that we talk about health. And when someone says, I want you to be healthy, what does that mean truly? And I put it down to 4 main pillars. And the first one being love. And yes, I'm a health professional telling people that you need to love. But I always do it from a standpoint of the how and the why. The why is really important. I think theoretically people know, yeah, like love is really great, but I come in from a science and also from a fitness perspective. If I can get you to love yourself and love your neighbor, we can have direct impact on your physical health. That has been shown by science, and it takes place internally in how your cardiovascular system will benefit, how your circulatory system will benefit, and how you will benefit as a result. That's just physiology. But in addition to that, if I get you to love yourself, truly what that means is that then when we talk about certain things that you need to do, because it's going to advance your health, it's going to change your trajectory of something going on in your body, you're going to be more willing to do it because you love yourself. You really know what that means. And often I have people exercise the love muscle, which is really to do acts of the best part of you, which is the internal love and kindness and gentleness and patience and self-control that lie in each of us. And if I can get you to exercise that by showing that during the week to different people and groups and to yourself, you'll start to make that a habit, and you'll be in a better headspace, positive headspace, to make lasting change. And love, I talk on freedom. So many people are absolutely imprisoned by their minds and by their body, sometimes from what they've done all along with their body, or it could be things that they're saying to themselves. And so for me, if you're talking about a key component to wellness, then I'm talking about I have to have ways to free your mind. I have to have ways to get you what I call to dance with your fears, to create a new and lasting and beautiful relationship, so you recognize fear was never meant to put you down and to keep you humbled, but yet to offer an opportunity for growth and change. And it's a mind shift, but it's doable, and there's exercises. So I dance in the freedom space to free you from negative thoughts or anything that's keeping you from who you need to be and who you were destined to be. And then power, oh my goodness. I love to show people the power you have inside, this tremendous physical power, power of breath, and light we can talk about. And the final pillar is resilience. And there's just a ton of ways to get people to actually exercise through resilience. And all of these things taken together, love, freedom, power, resilience, get you to do the things you need to do to make you the healthiest from what I call top down, inside out. So I can give some really great examples of each of those, but I didn't know I didn't want to.
We'd love to hear it.
Okay, so
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's perfect. So, one of the things I do a lot in the space of employee health. And so, to come in and to say, wow, and a lot in the hospital system. And so some people that are really not taking care of themselves, I often just really share with people, and that's just with everyone in the audience, that, my goodness, the stress levels worldwide are at epidemic levels. They are 3 times greater than they ever were before the pandemic. And so here we are heading into post-pandemic. What do we do? So to lower stress, one of the greatest ways to actually, this is under the love aspect of things, do a generosity challenge. I have one hospital doing 21 days of a generosity challenge. That means that they are stepping outside of themselves, fighting what fear would may have prevented them from reaching out in some way, but they're keeping a journal, and they're actually doing an act of generosity daily. And this is a generosity of spirit, generosity to others or groups. It could be a singular act, it could be a volunteer act. And they really had a wonderful study that was done that looked at it was called the Science of Generosity study. And it was a 5-year study, and they looked at the really health benefits, the overall health benefits of people that gave of their time or their talents. And they found a clear less depression and less instances of stress. And since we know that that is really one of the things that leads to disease, this is something for your health, but think about the benefits that you're giving just to the community at large. We're not meant to be isolated, and this is one way to get us back out, doing the things and relating in the ways that we were always intended to do. I think for freedom, I love this one because I've done both the fear challenge and I've done negative thought challenge. So the negative thought challenge is we have about 6,200 thoughts that cross our mind daily. And if you are not careful, you could have a great majority of them be quite negative. And so reinforcing things to tell you can't do things, or that you're not able, or that you should quit when you've been, or, now's the time to quit, and it'll put reasons in your mind that don't really make sense if you shine a light on them. So called the Shine the Light Challenge, which is you to be aware of what you're saying to yourself, making a mental inventory. Just wrote an article. It's a mental declutter, a daily check-in to the things that are coming. And the thoughts that come more often are the ones that we take on and we challenge. And so I love that. But the first part of it is just to know what you're telling yourself. The other aspect of it is do something that you're really kind of scared to do. Do it anyway. Do it anyway, and then write it down. And it doesn't really matter if it's quote unquote what you determine as that was the greatest success ever. The success is that you did it anyway. And the more I can get you to do it anyway, the more you'll start to feel like, wow, this thing called fear, it doesn't really hold dominion over me. I hold dominion over myself. And enough times it'll work out really well that you'll start to really reinforce that kind of positive. Power is probably one that I love dancing in. I by trade, I'm a health coach, and I really work on transformational change. And so for me, for people to see in the richness of the power that lie inside, the easiest way for me to show it all the time is with breath. You can tell me you have a racing mind. You can tell me that the negative thoughts keep you locked in a certain level in your life. But all I have to do is take you to a breathing exercise, and I can get you to focus just on breath, because there are breathing exercises that remind you that breath is the life force that flows through you. And if you learn how to harness the power of it, well, geez, I can make any exercise more meaningful. I can make anything that you do more eventful for you, because you are now connected. That's the true connection point between the brain and the body and your belief system. So once you start to see, and I love a series of wonderful, powerful breath exercises, and if you see the relationship with the previous two components, now I can pull in some other things to you. All right, so here we have breath. I have something called feel it and fire it up. Like, I want you to feel every muscle in your body. Why? Because we walk around as disjointed. It's almost like the arm is over here and the leg's over here, and nothing is all together. And if you slow it down with breath, boy, can you fire up a muscle. And now you start to really understand internally, not intellectually, but internally, and feel that, wow, I can cause these muscles to really fire on demand. I can even say in my mind, I want this on the left side of my body, left calf, to fire on demand. That's the power you have. And if we can dissect the computer by doing this, feel it and fire it up with every muscle in your body, you start to feel your power. So when I move you into commit to 10 every day, 10 movement, it becomes an easier thing. It's not a big commitment, and I get to dance in the power. And I really kind of put that also with, the ability to sleep and to renew and to know the power of that. So that's dancing in your power. Really is a reflection of you understanding the love you have for yourself, the freedom that you've now can dance in, and now you're in this power source. And the final one is resilience. And I don't, it's so important. It really kind of covers all of the others, because when you are truly in the resilient space, when you're resilient in your spirit, well, that means that you are able to withstand whatever may come your way, like a pandemic. You're able to never lose sight of who you are. And so in that love and freedom moment where I get you to really dance in your authentic self and your passions and your loves, then when something comes along, for me, it was the loss of both of my brothers this past summer. I needed a resilient spirit to be able to find peace, harmony, and joy. And so I give this one exercise, which is super cool, I think. I just call it the laugh challenge. Not enough laughter, not enough joy. Can you find laughter and joy daily? I challenge you to do it. I challenge you to find people. I challenge you to find funny, something you can read, something you can watch. I give you the science behind it because we can instantly change circular flow, the width of some of your veins with laughter. And so it can help you internally. That's been shown in study. And with all the flow of endorphins, it can help you in all ways just to move you into a positive space. So that if I'm saying, hey, can you do this challenge? You are already in such a powerful space. Or as I said, if something, really tragic or comes your way, you're strong and you're flexing the resilience muscle from doing some of those resilience exercises. So for me, those 4, they encompass every kind of weight training. They encompass every kind of mindful activity. They encompass every other thing that you may see in any kind of gym or wellness facility, but it encompasses it in a different way. It's from the inside out. And that's the way I believe moving post-pandemic that we can be the strongest we can be possibly to take on whatever may be around the corner for us.
My gosh, Lisa, you just hit me with tons of stuff, tons of stuff. I'm even hitting my mic. It's crazy. My condolences. And, you and I have spoken about, I'm sorry you lost your brothers this past summer. And I just even put it in the comments how I believe you're a superhero because you didn't stop your journey because their journey stopped in a way. And you're still shining your light on others. You are just a beautiful, beautiful soul. And this is why I am proud to have you in my life. And oh my gosh, I'm over here taking notes. So,
thank you. That's
I love when I got out of that you have to dance with your fears.
Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
That's so powerful.
I'm going to say that to me, if you can learn to do that, look how many people die at the front door of their fear. Dreams die. They just don't want to open the door because of the unknown. And boy, if you can get that mindset, just think what's possible.
Everybody who's watching now or even in later on, do me a favor, send Lisa some love. I mean, this girl is powerful. But you know what? Everything you heard her talk about comes from her heart. Because she was a prosecutor. Actually, she had to be kind of hidden for a while because the bad guys were after her. My gosh, you've had some experiences in your life, girl. I would protect you too. You know that, right?
I know. See, now I feel good. I didn't know you back then. I'd have called you on the phone and say, can you come up?
But you're such a giver. You're always looking out for the other person. I did an event with you that you asked me for. And my God, did we have fun or what?
We had fun, but there are people, and I just have to tell you this, some of the seniors still talk about you. That was some time ago, but when people make a lasting imprint, to give at that time, everyone was home and trapped, and to give them a vision of something they could do to connect, it's a brilliant gift.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. You gave me a gift that day because I saw the resilience in people and what you bring to them. Because I'm over there and I was teaching them a sword form. And I said, it doesn't matter if you don't have a sword. And there were people with umbrellas. There were people with sticks.
Broomsticks. Yes, the cane. I forgot about the cane.
There was a lady with an umbrella in her car. It was, it was amazing. But when we think that, and also I did an internal set as well, besides the sword. And And the breathing, and you talk about that, the breathing is an element that helps us all. And it's so
Yes.
fundamental. And so many people forget that.
Oh, they forget and they don't breathe. It's like what they estimate, what 80% of the population breathe shallowly. And if I say, oh, work on breath, oh yeah. No, it's really, it's fundamental to your health.
Yeah.
And you see, and I think if COVID didn't teach anything, that's where it attacked people's ability to breathe. And so, you don't want to be in that framework. Of course, that's on the extreme, but it just
Right.
shows you the importance, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Mhm.
With everything that you spoke about, and you're working with the fact of how the brain works in order for us to function. And you talked about thought, right? Because it's
Yes.
our thoughts that are going to help us understand, because everything starts from a thought. And then
Yeah.
we have to put it out there. We have to actually
Right.
take action. So, girl, I am just so happy that you and I made this connection.
Me too.
And I am there for you anytime. You just
Ah,
tell me and I'll be there. You know that.
I cannot tell you how much it's just a joy to me when I feel God puts people in my life that
Mm,
have danced in the same arena of just trying to spread this message of health and healing. And you do such a tremendous job, not only obviously with this project, but what you do every day. So I'm humbled to have you as a friend, I have to tell you.
you were my sister.
Mm, yes, right.
I think we went
That's me
past
dancing in the
friendship.
background. Yeah, I know. That's me dancing in the background. My heels didn't make too much noise.
Well, thank you again for being on today and sharing your knowledge. And this is not the last of it, because we're going to do a virtual event coming up soon.
Oh,
And then we're going
exciting.
to do a live event. And
Oh,
you have to be at both of them, obviously. And we're going to dance in person, right?
oh, we're going to really dance.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
talk the
Yeah.
theoretical dance. No, we're going to really dance.
Yeah. And you know who's going to dance with us?
Why?
Gino.
Oh,
Gino.
that's awesome. Hi,
Gino.
Gino.
We're going to make
Yeah,
EA dance with us as well. Right?
you don't know that about me, but I can samba. Yes.
Oh,
Oh, there we
And
go.
cha-cha and
oh
merengue.
my gosh. Gino, I used to teach Zumba. Oh, anyway, we'll talk offline. We'll talk
Yes.
offline.
Well, let me tell everybody about Gino, like karate, but Perrotte, right? He's the founder and lead educator of coach, and he's a coach and mentor of Right Brain Journeys, right? As an award-winning expert in culture and communication, Gino draws from upon 2 decades of corporate learning and development and academic teaching experiences. He's still teaching, by the way, to make business and professional communication, education, coaching, mentoring, networking, and training accessible, actionable for individuals and organizations. Gino and we met through my podcast and we hit it off. I mean, this is a man who is so powerful that it just, when he speaks, you'll hear it. And shortly he will be speaking, and he's going to talk about some very important aspects of what he does as well. He is a published author on the subject of soft skills. And I enjoyed that so much when we talked about soft skills, because we all do it, just sometimes don't realize it. And he does public speaking, he does virtual presentations, he talks about culture, gender, diversity, nonverbal communication, which is so huge, right? And also he has online learning initiatives and, study abroad and immersed learning. Gino, take it away, my friend.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Lisa, first of all, I love that talk. Yes, we definitely need to keep talking.
Yes.
I just want to compliment you on your use of the word dancing, because that's a very strategic, I dance with it. There is an energy, a very specific energy embedded in that, an emotion embedded in it. We dance when we're joyful. And so when you can dance with things that aren't even fun, you are choosing your action instead of your reaction. So I love that. Yeah, my work, I actually was just on campus yesterday. My work straddles both the private world and the academic world. And as you said, accessibility is one of my main missions. because my degree is in interpersonal communication and we study human relationships. This was around 2005 that I was earning that degree. And I didn't even realize the depth of what this program was about. I just wanted to become a better communicator. I valued that information. I wanted to learn it. It opened up my life into a whole new dimension. It was like a portal. And then I started teaching at the collegiate level, and I realized the stuff that we teach, that I'm going to talk about today, the stuff that we teach literally changes people's lives. And it does that because it changes first the relationship we have with ourselves. And then, of course, when we change, it transforms the relationships that we create with other people. So it literally can change your life. And I want this to be accessible because it can't just stay in the hands of academics. If we want to transform the world, we have to make this available to people on a large scale. So that's been one of my main missions with Right Brain Journeys. Interestingly enough, why I chose that name is I'm about unifying the head and the heart. As an academic, I am very heady. I think all day long. I enjoy thinking. It is fun for me. Like when I often think about when people are telling you what to think, I'm thinking, my response to that is, don't steal that joy from me. I want the process of thinking through that and coming to my own conclusion. Don't give me the conclusion. So I'm that type of person. However, I also feel deeply. And you said about being a powerful person. I had a horoscope reading done several years ago, and it said that my emotion is always embedded in my voice, which I'll explain in a moment, and that guarantees me a good audience. And the first time I really experienced that was at age 21 when I graduated from college in Pennsylvania, moved to Florida, started my professional career. I started with a real estate management company as a resident services director, so basically customer service. And very shortly after that, the company started growing and we needed a corporate trainer. And because the president of the company saw that at even 21 years old, when I spoke, people paid attention to the words that came out of my mouth. It ensured me a good audience, and it made me a valuable teacher because I can capture people's attention. So that's what I'm going to actually be talking about today is, where does that come from? It comes from the emotion in my voice, and our emotions are embedded with our values. So my work is about conscious communication. It's about connecting the head and the heart. It's listening to the heart, validating those emotions, which is also the metaphor for the right brain, the emotional side of things. But to be an effective communicator on the outside, to really impact on a massive scale, we often use our words. And it does have an energy value, literally the sound of our voice. A quick exercise would be, if I'm having pizza for lunch, am I happy about it? I'm having pizza for lunch. I'm having pizza for lunch. And it's the same words, but we change the way we say it. So when I say the emotion or the energy in our voice, that's what I'm talking about. And it's really embedded in the values. Most people aren't conscious of these values, so they can't build a strategy around the way they communicate. And why is a strategy important? Because it can build or it can damage your relationship. If you want to respond to somebody, what's the best response? Are you going to respond from an emotional place, or are you going to respond from a strategic place of what's the goal? What do I value with this person? Who do I want to be in the essence of who I am? Who do I want to be in this response? We all have a range of emotions, right? You and I were talking about frustration a little bit before this. We're human. We experience fear. We experience frustration. We experience joy. We experience jealousy. There's a bunch of emotions, some of them positive, some of them not so positive. But by making a choice, meaning I realize if I value it, I may be feeling frustration. I acknowledge it. I see it. I'm going to process it. Why am I frustrated in the moment? But then I'm going to realize that's not in alignment with my value. So our topic is energizing your work through values alignment. And it's about making those strategic choices that you're saying, I understand the motion, but I'm going to shift tracks because it's not going to allow me to live out my value. The reason I find this to be so important is, like many professionals today, we're busy. There's a ton of tasks. And we're all entrepreneurs as well, the three of us on this podcast, and I'm sure many watching and listening. When you own your own business, there is the possibility of your work never ending. I mean, you could work all day long, every single day, every hour, sharing the gifts to the world, helping people expand their lives, but also trying to generate more business income. So where do you make that decision that I've made enough money for the day, I've made enough impact through my actual work, because I also want to make an impact through my personal relationships and be able to dedicate the time and energy to those things. So it's about boundary setting. And where do you know, when do you know to set those boundaries? It's going to be through these discovery of your core values. So let me go ahead and get into this. This is an exercise that I do. We're not, of course, going to do the whole exercise. Typically, it takes between 20 and 30 minutes. However, in the show notes, Raphael's going to share with us the link to it. It's on my website. It's a free worksheet. I printed it out here. I'm just going to hold it up so you can see a little bit what I'm talking about. There's 3 parts to it. The first part is a very long list of potential adjectives. So that's where we start. This long list of potential adjectives is just a visual aid. It's to help you think in a very reactive way. What are the words that trigger you on this page? And we're used to this word triggering being a negative thing. Oh, it triggered. So the negative side. And that is one aspect. But I also want you to think of a trigger like a light switch. It can turn the light on or it can turn the light off. And I get triggered by certain things in a positive way. I see a happy dog walking down the street. Ooh, it triggers me. Literally, if the dog looks like it's smiling, I start smiling. So that triggers a positive reaction in me. And the idea of these triggers are when we're conscious of them, we can choose, because it's a value, we can choose what we're doing to align with that value so that while we're doing that work, instead of our energy going out of our body to make it happen, we are renewing the energy in because it's bringing us the joy of the connection to the value. Quick example. I do not like cleaning. Probably my least favorite domestic chore to do. I would rather do laundry. I would rather fold the laundry. There's a bunch of things. I would rather iron, empty the dishwasher. I do not like cleaning, but I love a clean house. Love, love, love it. And I do not have the desire to have a housekeeper at this point, maybe in the future, but not now. So while I'm scrubbing my toilet, I can't really say I find joy in that task, but I value cleanliness. I value order. And I know that a clean bathroom and a clean toilet is a pathway to that. So by shifting the viewpoint from the task, this is not fun, scrubbing a toilet. I'd rather be doing 1,000 other things. I think of, boy, is this going to look great when it's done. Boy, am I going to enjoy how fresh everything looks and smells and feels. And it's so nice. And now I have literally shifted. Instead of me feeling drudgery, drained by this task, instead I can feel bebop around, sometimes even sing a song and not even realize 1, 2, 3, the toilet's clean. And I didn't even realize I cleaned it because I'm mentally in a end result, which is much more invigorating. So step 1 is to go through this exercise with the list of adjectives. It is not exhaustive. Don't overthink it. I say to give yourself about 5 minutes. That's when I lead people through it. 5 minutes, go through it. If you like it, write it down. Sometimes if it triggers you in a negative way, write it down. If you have a word that's not on there, but you immediately think of it, write it down. Usually after those first 5 minutes in step 1, people end up with 20 to 30 words, a lot. Too much to actually process and make sense of. So that leads us to step 2. So step 1, again, all those words. Step 2, you'll find on the worksheet that will be with the link that we share, are groupings, 6 boxes. Now it's to start grouping words that are similar. For example, maybe you wrote down happiness. Maybe you wrote down enjoyment. Maybe you wrote down joy. Those are all words that you see in step 1. They're pretty similar. So let's put those all into category 1. Then you might put down words like optimism. Another one would be proactive. Are those similar enough for you? Maybe. We can put those in group 2. So you group them like that. And that's about 5 minutes as well. And I've left you a bonus category because sometimes there are a couple words that you really liked, but they just don't seem to group. So you can just throw them into that bonus category. Then step 3, that's about 5 minutes for step 2 as well. Step 3, you're going to similarly have some boxes. Now you go through that list of the first category, happiness, enjoyment, and joy. Give me just a moment, get that paper down. You go through those categories. And you have to do some really deep thinking, reflecting, and feeling through this exercise. Which one really encompasses your core value? Is it happiness? Is it joy? Is it enjoyment? On the surface in step 2, those all sound like the same. So step 3 is really forcing you choose one from each of those categories. This is typically, if I do this as a coaching exercise with people, this is typically where I guide them and where I need to do a little bit of facilitation, is have the conversations with them. So I will illustrate this with my core values. These are my 5 that I got it narrowed down to in step 2: consciousness, enjoyment, reciprocity, quality, connection. I also had like 20 some words, and I had to narrow it down to those 5 by step 3. Why consciousness? Well, out of all the ones in the category that I could have chosen from, I realized that being aware, being awake, noticing details, attention, all of those things were important, but I felt the idea of consciousness spoke to also a spiritual level of things, consciousness beyond the body, consciousness of the words I'm saying, consciousness of the emotion that I'm feeling, the emotional intelligence to understand the foundational why I am feeling something. That to me really felt like there was a good embodiment. And now what I do strategically is I embed that into my language. So I do conscious communication work. I need to embody that language as I speak. And it's going to start 2 things: teaching people what that word actually means, so it can start to become more embedded in the vocabulary. And the second thing is it starts being like a branding tool, a marketing tool. The people who already value the consciousness start getting attracted because I am those things. I am conscious. So now let me use the word to advertise that just by my normal speech. We are all on the same page about enjoyment. Lisa, that was coming out so much in your talk. I have said for years, and that's why I needed to formalize it, I am all about enjoyment. I would even say borderline hedonistic, but I'm also a very spiritual person. I grew up in a childhood that was often about denying yourself pleasure. I grew up very Catholic, and I can't speak for everybody's relationship with the Catholic religion, but my experience was that it was very much a denial of my physical body and just a basic denial of pleasures. If you think about the 40 days of Lent, we're often giving up things that give ourselves pleasure as a way to show sacrifice. Well, as older, I've chosen a different pathway to myself, and I feel that it's most honoring to God to enjoy the things and to express gratitude. So it's not to take away something as sacrifice, but it's to express joy and share the happiness when I receive something that brings me pleasure and enjoyment. So how this gets embedded in my work goes back to that bathroom example. Very little enjoyment in actually scrubbing the toilet. No enjoyment, I'd actually say, but a lot of enjoyment in the result. So now you can make strategies when you are choosing between jobs. Perhaps you're going on dates with multiple people. Hopefully open about that if you are, but you can make decisions about, who do I enjoy being with? And that can be as simple as Lisa talked about, the power of laughing. Who do I laugh with the most? But perhaps your enjoyment is not always about, they may not be the one I laugh with the most, but I do have a good time. I can see my life with them. I can see building a long-term life. And that would be more like the cleaning the toilet example. I may not love the daily tasks. They leave their laundry everywhere. That drives me nuts. But in the grand scheme of things, like a clean bathroom, I think I would really enjoy our life together, not just moments of laughter. But you get to be in the driver's seat of that, which is scary for some people. That's the empowerment, because now you have to be responsible for the choices that you make. But knowing the values will help you to more easily accept that responsibility, because you are moving towards the things you really value consciously. The third one, this is huge. And Lisa, I loved what you talked about breathing, because my third one is reciprocity. And that is the physical embodiment of giving and receiving. So when we breathe, it is reciprocity. We receive and we give. We receive oxygen and we give carbon dioxide. It is a cyclical thing that is going through our bodies multiple times every minute, every moment of our lives. It is the embodiment of reciprocity. I grew up with wonderful parents who thankfully are still alive, and I enjoy their company very much. They did not model boundaries for us. And both of my grandmothers, looking back, in my opinion, very much took advantage of my parents. And I think unfairly put pressure on their marital relationship. And I would never allow that to happen. I have boundaries now because I watched my parents not have boundaries and how they suffered from it. I've learned to have boundaries, and this is why I value reciprocity. because within this idea of boundaries is that I am totally willing to give. There's an open heart, but the love, like Lisa talks about, coming from a place of love means I first have to love the soul of who I am. I am the essence of God in my life. So by loving myself, I am loving God. If I cannot love myself first, if I am giving everything away to people who don't love me, there's a huge message in there to listen to. So I am first, in order to love other people, I need to love myself, which means I cannot completely give and deplete myself, because somebody who would love me would never want me to deplete myself like that. They would support me in the boundaries that I need. Now, I want to say about giving and receiving. Reciprocity, as I've learned through life, it is not always about, hey, I take care of you, you take care of me. You bought me a birthday gift, so I'm going to buy you a birthday gift. Sometimes we receive first and then we give, and not to the same people. So I had amazing mentors growing up in high school and college, and even to this day. So now I give back to the younger generation by mentoring them. They're not giving to me with mentoring, but I already received that from other people. So it's the idea of paying it forward. Reciprocity is not always about an even exchange between two people. Instead, sometimes it's big picture. I already received that generosity from the past generation. Now it's my turn to move that generosity to the future generations. That's my third one. My fourth one is all about quality. I am not about quantity. I want good stuff. I want good food. I will pay more for it. I want nice clothes. I want nice shoes. I may only have 5 pair of shoes. I have way more than 5 because I like shoes, but that's a quick example. I may only have 5 pair of shoes, but they're good shoes, and I'm willing to pay for good stuff. That is a very individual decision. Some people don't value quality. My grandmother did not. She liked, give me the cheapest thing that was on the shelf so I can save as much money as possible, because it goes back to enjoyment. My number 2, I like quality. I taste, I sense deeply. So I want the high quality wine because I taste it. It's that much better. I want the good clothing because I can feel the cashmere on my skin and it brings me pleasure, which is enjoyment. So for me, quality is very worth it. And I would rather have 1 or 2 high quality things and enjoy the heck out of them than a bunch of low quality things. And that includes relationships. I give 100%. That's what I expect in return. The fifth one, and again, I'm telling you this because I'm illustrating this is the deep dive in step 3. So this is the point of what I want you to get to. You may have the self-awareness to lead yourself through the exercise because the 3-step sheet is free. We're going to give that to you. If you're looking for some guidance to really do the deep dive like I'm illustrating here, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you with that. So my last one is about connection, internal connection, connecting to my body, which is why I love dancing. I was also a gymnast. You have to be so hyper aware from your toe all the way through your entire body to your fingertip when you do these things. It is such awareness. And I find joy in that. That's the internal part of the connection. But then using the athletic side of things as a metaphor as well, all of my sports were about being judged, which had its own psychological aspects. But you know that you're not just performing for the joy of it. You are doing it. But if you want to win a competition, whether it's dancing, I was also a diver or a gymnast, you're being watched and judged by other people. So you also become keenly aware of what it's like from their perspective. And we often do mirror work. So we can literally see ourselves as the athlete. Instead of having your hand here, you got to move it up just a tiny little bit because it makes a completely different impression, which can result in a fraction of a point higher, which can actually win the medal for you versus get second place. So this idea of connecting is going inward, connecting with our values, what brings joy. But it's also then about realizing our power to influence the people around us. Just like the smiling dog made me smile, we are constantly influencing people. So I would argue, similarly to what Lisa says, that when we get to the essence of who we are, and I believe that is love, because if God is love, and from a spiritual perspective, we are the embodiment of God created in God's image, then you connect the linguistic dots. That means if God is love and we are created in God's image, then we are love. So it's stripping away all of the things that are holding us back, like fear, and becoming hyper conscious through an exercise like this of what really brings that highest level love, what brings us to that point of love. And when we know it, we can choose it, even during mundane tasks like scrubbing the toilet. I know that's a
stuff.
mouthful, so I'll pause there just to see if you have any questions. If you'd like me to keep going, I certainly can.
No, I mean, wow. Yeah, so more notes. I'm taking notes, you guys. You definitely, oh, I am so fortunate to know you both. I am the lucky one here. So, you talked about gifting, right? And it just, that image of in the Big Bang Theory, right? Of Sheldon could not accept a gift from someone because he had to, step it up. So sometimes, and you're right, sometimes we have to learn to receive as well. We should be givers, but we should definitely learn to receive as well. And then you also talked about, oh my gosh, EQ, right? Emotional intelligence. And that's one thing that we can get better at. IQ, not for everybody, right? Not everybody can get smarter. We can by reading and stuff, but you're born with a certain IQ. EQ can be developed, and it can be like off the charts, but it's all based on love and emotions and conscience, like you talked about. And that's everything, right? So the other thing you talked about is core values. And here's the thing that I see about core values is that, and this is why people have to reach out to you, Gino. You need to help people, because people don't necessarily understand their core values or even know what they are.
Yeah.
Right. So this is where you come in. This is why everybody listening, I put the links up there for both of my powerful speakers, for Gino and for Lisa. Reach out to them. They are super, super powerful. And, he talked about emotions. He talked about feelings, and nobody likes to clean the toilets, right? But he talked about the result, and he had to do it to get the result. Gino, thank you for that. That was powerful too,
My pleasure.
Yeah, understanding all those things. Go for it.
I did want to add one more thing I think is important is
absolutely
the core values exercise. It's not a one and done. It's like, I did it. I'm 20 years old and I'm just watching this. So I'm going to do it. And now I know for the rest of my life. Just like our physical bodies continuously evolve, transform, since we're all in the space of transformation, we can use that language. We are continuously evolving. Therefore, our values change. I would say a couple things. After every 5 years at a minimum, redo this exercise. You may find a couple of them are the same. Probably will find a couple change. Life just changes priorities as we get older. We have more mature. We have different perspectives on things, but also major life events. So new jobs, divorces, marriages, births, deaths, pandemics, they shift us into new ways of understanding and seeing. We're not the same people anymore. And that's not a bad thing. It's just something to be conscious of. Who am I now? Let me get to know this new human being, because we're always in a relationship with ourselves, but we often don't think of that. So this is a way for you to get to know who you are again. And there probably are a couple things that will stay pretty consistent throughout your life, but there's probably 2 or 3 that will keep shifting over time.
No, absolutely. I mean, listen, some of the best dates have been with this guy right here.
Amen. Yeah.
So thank you both. Let me tell you a little bit about me. Usually I have the most powerful person speaking about me, and that's EA. And we miss you, EA. I know that the power lines are down. I can tell you're up there on a ladder. You're like fixing things. Just don't get electrocuted. You already have so much energy anyway. So my name is Raphael. They call me Sifu. Sifu means teacher in Chinese. So with that in mind, I teach people how to go from the beginning onto a journey of an achievement. So think of a white belt going all the way to black belt. There's so many different complex things that we go through in life. So I want to talk to you. Plus, I'm also a mental game coach, because when you think about the mind is what's going to allow us to move forward, right? So I'm going to talk about leadership mindset, focus on the what, not the when. So let me tell you a story, right? In high school, as a kid, I wanted to be an architect. So in high school, I found out that I didn't have to go to lunch. I was like, I can do something better. So I found out that one of the teachers who was teaching a photography class during my lunchtime had been an architect. So I approached him and I asked him, could I be in the back of the room and he would give me drawings and I would draw them and then he would critique them and tell me what else I should do. He agreed. Wow. So during high school, I didn't eat lunch. I drew. How cool is that, right? So a lot of people, and that's the what. I found my what. What do I want to do? And when do I want to do it? First, you need to find out the what. And then the when comes later. Because without that thought, and I talked to Lisa about this, right? Without that thought, then the action. So for me, it was important for me to draw. Eating, I just like quick bite of something. I have something in my bag and quick, and then just start drawing. And that was my lunch period every day in high school. Why? I had a goal. My goal was to draw beautiful things. And because of that passion, my what led me to a company that hired me right out of high school to do drawings for them. But here's the cool thing. They paid for my schooling. I didn't have to pay for schooling. So guess what? They paid. I went in the mornings to a specialized program that they put me in. I went into Manhattan in New York City, and their offices were in Lake Success in Long Island. So they even paid for my transportation. They paid for everything because of the skills I acquired during what I could have been doing is lunch. Sometimes I ate. This is what I ate. I ate my opportunity to be something different, right? So when we think about the what, I had the what in me, just like you have the what in you. The when is going to come once you set the what up, right? So what did I want? I wanted to do architectural drawings. How did I accomplish that? By doing it. When? Now. When the time presented itself, I took the opportunity, and then that opportunity led me to more opportunities. So I got my schooling paid for because of not taking lunch. What would you skip lunch for? Just curious. So think about everything that we do in life is about the opportunities that are in front of us. If we are, and Gino said it, conscious of what's around us. And subconsciously, we can look, without conscious mind, we can do and think of one thing at a time. Subconsciously, it's endless. We can think so many different things. So sometimes I tell people, when you have a problem, don't try to solve it right away. Sometimes you have to, right? Other times, what you could do is sleep on it and put it in your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind can hopefully, when you wake up, it may take many nights that you have to sleep on it, but then eventually it's going to get you in a position where you are going to solve it through your subconscious mind. The answers are there for every problem in life. Back in history, for every problem, there always has been a solution. So don't always jump on. That's the, I got to do this now. That's not the when. The when is when the problem is solved. That's everything. So when I present myself, right, here's another quick thing, right? I went across the street. I went with a friend of mine to watch a UFC fight. And what wound up happening is when we entered the restaurant, I didn't see anything but the restaurant. We came out, I looked across the street and it was a for rent sign. I'm like, this is a perfect location for my school, my martial arts school. So I'm going to move it from where I am. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to look. Big space, 10,000 square feet. I said, okay. So I looked in the window, nothing. There's a phone number. I called it. Can I tell you? My what happened that day. My when I didn't know. I had to do the work to find out when. It took 1 year with negotiations, because I had the what. They thought my urgency was their gift, but it wasn't. I was still in my other place. I was okay. So thinking about my what is, I want this place, but I want it on my terms, not their terms. We made it so we can both be happy. And therefore, it took a year, 4 different leases, which, by the way, I did myself. Here's the whole thing. When you know what it is you want, your what sometimes can become your why. And the when is when it's the right time. Look, I started a coaching call podcast. I didn't start right away. When did I start? 9 months after the thought came into my head. That's the when. The what was figuring out what I wanted to do, what type of podcast I wanted, and who I wanted in my podcast. Look, you guys just met 2 amazing people who are on my podcast. I have been so fortunate that the thought put into action allowed me to connect with amazing people. Now, the thing about connections, it's the people you surround yourself, and Gino said it perfectly. You don't want to have 50 friends. You don't want to have, and look, he talked about clothing. You don't want to have, 50 cheap things, right? So think of friends. Are they cheap? Are they putting you down? Are they pulling you apart? Or are they filling you? Are they giving you love? Are they encouraging you? Instead of saying, you can't do that, and saying, you can't do that right now, but I think you can do it. You just got to put your head down and go for it. That's the difference, right? Between quantity and quality. What do we want in our lives? We want quality, right? So always seek quality. Gino, you said it perfectly, my friend, right? Listen, who's going to lift you up the most in your life? It's the person looking back at you in the mirror. And like I said before, I've had some great dates with this guy right here. But I've had great dates also with other people. And I'm not talking about a relationship where it's this type of relationship. I'm talking about a relationship where it's a friendship, acquaintances, connections. I've had great dinners with all kinds of amazing people. And in the past, I've had dinners with people that I should never have been near. But I didn't know that. And this is how we have to do that intuition kind of thing, right? We have to put it out in the universe. I only want to associate with people who I want to lift, and they're going to lift me back. So that's connections. It's everything. I can't tell you guys enough of the pleasure that I've had today with having you guys on here. I've put your links on the notes for everybody to click in and follow you guys. I'm going to throw mine on right now. If you guys want to connect with me, by all means, do so. Love, love, love yourself. Just like you have to put an oxygen mask on yourself before you help someone else. Love yourself first before you go and love someone else. Gino, can I tell you? Great, great content. Lisa, amazing. You guys go ahead on mic. Let's have a quick convo. Wow.
Thank you
guys
for the
blew me away.
invitation.
I know I took my notes. I took some really good notes here, because I always find that there's such a spirit with people that stop in and can bring something so beautiful to the table. And I feel like when there's that connection, it's just, there's nothing like it. So I thank you both for the glorious and beautiful and informative pieces of information that you've provided. There's nothing like that I could ask for anything more. And now I have a new friend.
Yeah.
I have a brother and I have a friend.
Yeah.
And then Gino, I don't know. Let's see where the relationship goes.
Exactly. we have 3 like-minded people here, and everybody who's watching are going to be of a like mind. So they've self-selected for something that they value. And as a result, this is fun, right? That's what we're talking about. Make your work fun. This wasn't work. This was fun.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. I would want to just add one thing, when we were talking about the love, and some people that don't know how to love themselves, and sometimes just little acts that they can do, it doesn't have to be big, but small things that can bring that sort of piece of joy. But also it's a muscle that you can exercise by doing small things, if it's opening the door for someone or letting someone in, or, paying for someone's coffee. Sometimes doing those small acts come back on you and help to teach you about loving yourself. So we can do this as a nation, as a world, one really kind act at a time for ourselves.
Well said.
Yeah. Fred is much love. Listen, we are full of love. There's an abundance of love that's not being given. I'm a hugger, guys. So when I see you guys, I'm going to hug you, right?
That's welcome.
I'll give you one now.
Virtual hug.
There you go.
So thank you guys so much. Listen, everybody, March 18th, we have another 2-power. Oh my God. Everybody I know is just amazing. We have Cheryl Mathis and Brandon Beliso. And the topic is three life skills to create happiness and success. I invite everybody to come back March 18th, same bat channel, same bat time, right? We're just having fun, but we're not done. We have a 3 to 5 day virtual event coming up soon. I can't give too many details. We're working on it. EA and I are working on it. We're going to have an amazing you guys are definitely going to be there, but we're going to have a whole slew of amazing people at it. And it's just going to be tons and tons. One little pad is not going to be enough. This is the one I will wait. I got many books over here. I got another one over here.
That's the tagline for your virtual event. One notepad is not enough.
One notebooks. Yes, Lisa, show us that book. And everybody can get Lisa's book, which is awesome. I have it back here. It's signed. Thank you for that, Lisa. You're an amazing person. So last remarks, last comments, you guys.
Live life from your values, because that's where the enjoyment is going to come from. That's where the energy is going to come from. When you have a million things to do, where you're going to get the energy, or where you're going to not do a million things, make strategic choices about where you invest the quality time in the top things. That decision becomes much more clear. You get clarity when you have values. So do the values exercise. It's going to help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to say, take the time to get to know the true authentic self, the true beauty that lies within, and take those measures that I gave you so you can start to dance in your love, your freedom, your power, and your resilience. And I can promise you this, if you are dedicated just every day to do one small thing, small things done over a long period of time bring about lasting change. And so it's all inside of each of us. And know when to reach out for additional assistance from Gino for what he's doing, from coaching if you want, for my friend here, my brother Rafael, so that we can help you along your journey.
Absolutely. Everybody, listen, as my co-host would say, live your best day ever, you guys. Enjoy.